Here are a few crazy posts from r/legal advice. My almost 3-month-old daughter has been subpoenaed to testify in a criminal case. Last Thursday a process server came to our house and served a subpoena for a criminal case on my daughter, who was born on the 15th of April, 2015. I called the number on it to explain how it must be a mistake because my daughter is not even 3 months old yet, but I was told there was no mistake and my daughter is required to appear as a witness to testify on the date shown on the subpoena. I went in person with my daughter to the DA's office and was told the same thing. My husband and I thought this might be a case of identity theft. She doesn't have a social security number yet because she was born at 29 weeks. Spent 11 weeks in the NICU and has only been home from the hospital for 7 days, so we haven't gotten around to it yet. We checked anyway just in case and one has not been created for her or issued to her. Nothing with her credit either. We called the police about it possibly being identity theft and they are looking into it, but so far there is nothing, and they also told us the subpoena is legitimate. So we are very confused. My daughter has a rare and uncommon first, middle and last name, so it is very doubtful that there's someone else with her exact name. When I called the number on the subpoena and went to the DA's office, I was told both times that if she doesn't show up for court, a warrant will be issued for her arrest. Would the police actually arrest her baby for not showing up in court? Or would my husband and I as her parents be arrested instead? Does anyone have an explanation for what is happening here or any advice as to what we can do to solve this? I swear I'm not trolling. I wouldn't believe this myself, except it is actually happening to us. We are in California. This happened about a year after my father died. He was subpoenaed to testify in court regarding an auto accident he was in. I explained to them that he died and showed the death certificate. They told me that he had to show up, otherwise he'd be arrested. So for my amusement, I went in on the court date with his death certificate and his ashes. Explained to them that my father is indeed present but is unable to answer any questions at this time. What did the judge say? He let me go. My father wasn't the defendant in the case but a witness. A dump truck full of sand tipped over and dumped sand everywhere, including in my father's convertible. It was a bad day for him to have the top down. So, due to that, the driver got off of the charges. His lucky day. A dump truck full of sand tipped over and dumped sand everywhere, including in my father's convertible. Was your father Biff from Back to the Future? Oh. To be there the day you show up in court with your newborn baby, subpoena in hand, to tell the judge exactly why you're there, that you told that the baby had been subpoenaed and that the threatened to have your infant arrested if you did not bring her to court to testify. That judge, man, he's going to have a good day. I'd love to see what the process server's affidavit says. Subject was a Caucasian female, approximately 8 pounds, left subpoena in subject's layette. Subject appeared to drool or possibly coo in recognition of receipt. OP, you're going to look rather foolish when you learn your daughter's running a drug smuggling ring out of her crib. Your Honor, our initial investigation found respondent in charge of a large ring. What kind of ring? Large, plastic, bright green, with comically large plastic keys attached. The subpoena should list the court, division and judge's name. Call the judge's office and ask to speak to the clerk. Clerks are pretty adept at solving problems. Explain the mistake briefly, and also explain your fruitless attempt to clear up the matter with the DA's office. Explain that, due to your daughter's vulnerable health, you'd prefer not to have to appear at the courthouse with the baby to sort the matter out in person, and offer to fax the judge a copy of her birth certificate. I think there's a better than even chance this will get you sorted out. Good luck. And congratulations on your baby. While I, for selfish reasons, would prefer that you show up and regale us with stories of what exactly the judge did to the DA for making you go through this. Yes, call the clerk. They should fix it. Can you legally steal your own property hours after a police officer hands it to the thief? Yesterday my phone was stolen at lunch and I chased down the girl who stole it, making a scene in the mall. A Plano police officer overheard the commotion and came over. The girl tried to say I was trying to steal her phone. I told the officer that I could unlock the phone and the girl could not. I told him my pictures are on the phone, my bank information was on the phone, and basically my entire life was there to prove it was mine. He refused to give me the chance or believe me. He told me to back off and leave her alone or he would arrest me. I left. The girl was wearing a uniform at one of the shops in the mall, so I decided to check back 2 hours later. I saw her set my phone down by the cash register of her work after failing again to break into my phone. When no one was in her store and her back was turned, I took my phone back. Before anyone starts going off on me for it. I know exactly what I did was extremely stupid, but I am still paying for that phone, so yeah, I am asking for the legalities of it. The phone was set on a counter and not in an area that would be considered employee only. The store was open and the phone is legally mine. The place is obviously heavily video monitored, so there is no doubt that I am on video. My questions are simply, did I break any laws? If the phone was on the counter, not behind the register but on the counter, the store was open and I was not asked to leave, and the phone is legally my property, did I break the law? Edit. Thanks for all of the info. I do not wish to pursue a police complaint, nor do I wish to report a crime. I am too lazy for that. Edit 2. I'm a dude. She would have to report you to the police for theft, but for the police to charge you or make you forfeit the phone, she would need proof she owns it. More importantly, you should have gotten the badge number of that officer, as well as made a police report about her so this is documented. I would try to make a report anyway. They can figure out who was at the mall at that time. Technically, you can't steal your own property by virtue of not being theft. Neighbor is shitbombing my front yard. Update. I'll be sure to post updates, so please stop PMing me or replying to my comments post history outside of this sub asking me to do so or suggesting I shitbomb them back. My wife noted that what we think might be his kid comes around most weekends. In the interest of remaining neighborly and with the possibility neighbor dude might be losing his mind, we're going to talk with them before lawyering up or involving the fuzz. Updates forthcoming. Original post. Hey all, I have a shitty situation here that I'm hoping to get some advice about. This is in Idaho. My neighbor is shitbombing my front yard. A new neighbor bought a house across the street about 6 months ago. A few weeks back, I was working in the garage when I saw him take his dog directly across the street into my front yard. He let it pee in my yard and then walked straight home. He didn't notice me. My garage is set up as a shop and is pretty busy, and the garage door is up a lot, but this piqued my interest because it's goddamned weird. Now, my wife and I have a dog, so there are a few dog droppings from her that we pick up on a regular basis. My wife had been doing the guilty duty recently, so I asked her if there are more piles than normal. Sure enough, she said there had been a ton for a while now. She figured it was a-holes walking their dogs and letting them crap in our lawn. I figured it was our new weirdo neighbor. It happened again around a week later. I was in the garage as the neighbor took his dog into our lawn. This time the dog dropped a deuce and he started to walk away without picking it up. I called out to him, asking him if he needs a plastic bag to pick up after his dog, and he avoided eye contact and scurried back home. I went across the street and knocked on his door. He didn't answer. We set up a security camera to discreetly watch the front lawn, and I kept an eye out for when he was next out in his yard so I could talk to him. I reviewed the footage over the next few days and, sure enough, he was consistently taking his dog to do the deed in our yard. Why our yard? No clue. We've never had any interaction with this guy whatsoever. The next time I saw him walking to his car, I confronted him. I simply told him that I knew he was taking his dog to shit in our yard, and if I caught him doing it again I'd call the police to report him for trespassing. He denied doing it, claiming it must be other neighbors. Got in his car and drove away with me standing in his driveway. So I review the footage from the last few days. Dude is not walking his dog into my yard anymore. He's letting the dog shit in his yard. He then scoops it up, walks it across the street, and tosses it into my yard with a shovel. What the absolute duck? How do I even begin handling this? I know. Do what everyone here said. Call the police. Get a lawyer, etc. But I wanted to add, don't warn him. Don't confront him and tell him you are sick of it and you're making good on your threat to call the police. Blindside him so he's not suspecting it when they arrive. It's not like there's much he could do anyway considering you have video evidence, but it's still better not to warn him. I still think it would be good to get footage of trying to ask nicely for it to stop. This proves you did your part in taking care of the situation with a civil means. Never grief back. It could go against you in a court of law. Not to mention, if he realizes OP is videotaping his attempt to nicely stop this, it might finally make the guy think. I hope he doesn't though, and OP gets his camera equipment paid for. Pretty low to take on a pet when you already know you won't clean up after them. Probably putting it in his yard because the neighbor went so far as to find out who else has a dog and cleans up after it. Oh hey, look, these people got a dog and they like picking up poop. We'll just toss it in their yard, honey. Problem solved. Yay. No, it don't work that way. Put it in writing. If the surveillance footage has no audio, then simply recording you speaking to him will not hold up in court. Agreed. Footage is fine. A strongly worded letter is better. I think my boyfriend has been drugging me to make me forget things. He is a doctor. This is in North Texas. Hey, so I must apologize if this post is jumbled a bit. I started typing it up in Word yesterday before my date and forgot about it before finishing it today. I think my boyfriend has been secretly drugging me for a while now and is gaslighting me. I know this is going to be hard to explain, but I have been having gaps in memory that I have been explaining away as being tired, or overworked, or whatever else. I was going to ask my boyfriend about it, since he is a doctor. But then I started to notice that this seems to happen when I go on dates with him. I know it must be crazy, but I have woken up with dried semen on my breasts several times with no memory of the night before. I know it's him as well. I won't get into specifics, but he likes that kind of thing more than other guys would. The first time it happened was when we were drinking and I wrote it off as too much to drink. We get drunk and have sex all the time, so it's not a big deal to me. But then there were a few times when I know we were not drinking. I decided to break up with him over it, only to suddenly find myself on a date with him a few days later. I had not yet had the conversation to break up with him, but planned on it next time I talked with him. I remember being at the restaurant, but nothing before that. My car and his car was in the parking lot too, so I was confused. I decided to play along when he asked me to come back to his place. After 3 days at his place I remembered everything, so I was started to trust him again. Knowing he was an ent, I know it won't be his forte, but he is a doctor. I was going to ask him about my issues when he randomly pointed to these red bumps on my thigh and said I should be treating those sores. I had completely forgotten they were there. These little red bumps that look like needle injections that got infected. I got so freaked out he mentioned them that I decided to leave. The next day he came over to check on me and I remember waking up in bed with more dried semen on my chest. Then today he met me for lunch saying we had agreed to meet. I never agreed to meet with him and would never want to. He does this all the time, saying we agreed to do something I have no memory of. I am sick and tired of it and want him punished. This has started to affect my work life as well, as I start to get paranoid when I see a boss walk into a room after making eye contact with me. I get paranoid that they are about to fire me. My friends also state I have been acting strangely and out of character. I have even begun to lose sleep and sleepwalk when I do. Is there a way to have blood work done to see what kind of drug he is using on me? I do not want the police to blow me off and push me away as some crazy lady, so I want to be damn sure when I go to the police. You mentioned red bumps on your thigh, insomnia, memory loss, paranoia and anxiety? Pull the sheets off your mattress please. Check in the little creases for brown specks or encrusted brown flakes. These symptoms sound eerily familiar to what happened to a friend of mine. We thought he was going crazy. Turns out he was having a severe reaction to long-term bedbug bites. You mentioned that you remember everything that happened at his place, but as soon as you got home it started up again. Bedbugs can cause psychological symptoms if the reaction is severe enough. I would check the lip of the mattress first to see if you have bedbugs. Wait, seriously? Does it look like dried chocolate or poop chunks along the seam of the mattress? Yes. That what you see? Yes. All along the left side of my mattress by the wall. That checks out. After 3 days at his place I remembered everything, so I was started to trust him again. Go see a doctor immediately. Let him know your concerns and what you found on the mattress. For your peace of mind, get the rape kit done as well if you need it. OP may very well have had sex with him without remembering it, if the gaps in her memory affect her memory of consent. Another thing to remember is that bedbugs are attracted to warmth and carbon dioxide, so the act of sex might be drawing them out to make them feed more. Just a theory, but if it is getting worse after sexual activity, it's something to think about.